Well, salutations, kindred spirit, greetings, and welcome back to another exclusive tutorial. And hey, this one should prove to be of interest, if nothing else, by request. Today we're doing some of the more challenging material. Y'all always want to see me do the hard stuff. Well, you're getting that today. Let me raise the stage for your entertainment value as I raise myself here to present this novel effect. Yeah, it's an original piece, so if nothing else, it's the kind of thing you don't see every day, unless you're me. I digress. So here you go. You take a die, you roll it in a cup onto the table. That's a 4, so we deal 1, 2, 3, 4. Note that if you were here, and I wish you were, because this trick is always more fun when you have a spectator roll the dice. Yeah, they can check out the dice. They roll them to the table. That's a 3, so it's a 3, 1, 2, 3 to the table. The last two will roll simultaneously or at once. That'll give us a 5 and a 5. That's a 10, so we deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's right off the top, and that is the trick. That's a 4 there, and that's a 4. That's a 3 here, and that's a 3 there, and that's a 5 and a 5. That's a 10, and that's a little ditty I call Coincidice. Now, this is phase 1. That's right, there's more. The fun has just begun. Let's try it again, maybe a little bit differently, but similar as we roll one die to the table. That's a 3, and that's 2, 3. That's 3 off the top. We roll it again, one die. And note, not only does the spectator get to have fun, it also helps cover the hard moves. But here I am doing them right out in the open. That's 4 for a 4. Yeah, here I'll do the next one. This is a pinky count and a pass. So I'm counting 3 cards. I'm going to shift those 3 cards to the bottom. That's normally done under the spectator rolling the dice. That's a 4 and a 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is 7 and 4 and 3. For that, I need to deal 17. Let me just get the 17th card out with a little bit of a flourish. Yeah, that's a king. You'll want that one to match that king. That's at the 3 position. That's the king at the 4 position. That's 3 and a 4. That's 7. And that's Coincidice phase 2. And yes, I have no social life. So to perform the Coincidice effect, you're going to need to know a few things. First one is the stack, and I'll describe the stack in a moment in detail. You're also going to need to know a couple of hard moves. Yeah, they're hard moves. You guys have been asking for this stuff. I'm talking about the pinky count and the pass. Now this is the Pinky Swear DVD. This is a treatise I did with Rich Aviles on the pinky count and the pass and managing multiple stacks, and we'll get to all that information in a moment. So if you want to research this kind of stuff further, that's one place you could do it. I also want to mention the tutorials at Theory 11, in particular Jason England. He teaches the pinky count in detail, and he also has some wonderful work on the pass or the shift. And we're going to talk about both of those moves briefly. Let's talk about the pinky count first. And this is the notion of releasing cards off the tip of your pinky at the corner of the deck, one at a time, and this is done to obtain a secret break. We'll be getting pass breaks in a moment, but yeah, this is the pinky count, one at a time, right off the tip of the pinky. You can do this by holding the deck with pressure from your thumb and forefinger at the outer left corner, in this case, and then at the bottom right corner, you want the deck beveled, so it's kind of a diagonal, just a little loose step there. This will allow the pressure to build off your pinky. You're going to pull down with your pinky. That combined with the grip at the thumb is going to build a little pressure, and then with practice you can release those cards right off the tip of your pinky one at a time. Now, in the case of the Coincidice effect, you might have to count as many as 10 cards or 11 cards. I suggest that a student practices counting to 13 cards. This will give you a lot of options, and those are discussed on that DVD I just mentioned. But at the very least, learn 2 or 3 or 4. You can do multiple lifts, double lifts, or if you have to set for a secret subtraction, an adfis, or a break kind of situation, this is going to make all your card magic look that much cleaner. It will take practice. You will be well served for that practice. So that's the pinky count. The other move we're going to use is the pass or the shift, and that was a shift I just did. It's the action of secretly cutting the deck right under the spectator's nose, and the action that I'm using here is a Derek Dingle riffle style shift. I think it's best suited to small packets of cards, which will be shifting in the case of the Coincidice effect. So for the shift, you're going to hold the block, you're going to pass, like say we've just pinky counted a block of 5, and now I'm going to hold that block between my pinky and my 3rd finger. So these fingers are going to support that. It's these fingers that will pull the card, this block, and the hand above, the thumb and the fingers hold the lower packet as this action happens. These fingers pull this packet out down to the bottom, and as that happens, this hand is going to riffle up the back of the deck, and this is the riffle style pass action. And again, this is a Derek Dingle style that I learned from the complete works of Derek Dingle. Establishing your break, there it is clipped. Dingle uses a curled finger underneath the pack, which is an interesting addition to the pass that you may or may not see to use in your passing techniques. Here's the thing about the pass, y'all. There's as many passes as there are hands, and I think this, what works for me might not work for you. And note there's a lot of different styles of passes. There's like a Herman shifts, the free turn shifts, the clip shifts. There's all kinds of stuff you can do when it comes to passing the cards. I guess it's also worth noting that you don't have to do a pass here. You can use overhand shuffles, other techniques to do this trick, but the pinky count and the pass are really the way to go with this trick, and I hope that little bit of information on those two moves gives you a start on learning the techniques. And with that information out of the way, hey, let's take a moment and look at the stack that makes this work. All right, so this is the Coincidice stack, which is actually multiple stacks. There's several of them, and we're going to access these stacks through the pinky count and the pass actions. Here's the order. It's ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll need that order first. Note the suits are jumbled. They should be jumbled up. This will be helpful later. Again, ace through 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's twice. Ace through 6, ace through 6. The third run is ace through queen. So ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, queen. And it is these cards that will produce the rolls that match the values of the dice. And this notion, and I'll toot my own horn here, toot toot, it's one of the few original card effects that I've ever contributed to Cardopia. It's an original plot, which you don't see too much. Rolls of the dice matching rolls of the cards. So, yay me. Moving forward, phase 2 does not match the rolls. It produces the kings. And if you're going to follow phase 1 with phase 2, here's the king stack. It's a king and then 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 random cards. Then another king and 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the 2 kings followed by the rest of the deck. So king, 5 cards, king, 5 cards, 2 kings, remainder of the pack. Note that you can produce any 4 of a kind with that stack. Kings just work well because they're not used in the other setup. And it is these 2 stacks, and maybe I can get a graphic going on down here for you guys, those 2 stacks that will produce the Coincidice effect. Now with the deck stacked, I like to open the routine with a false shuffle. That was Steve drawn push through with a triple cut. You could do something like that, or maybe an Erdnace overhand. This is a pretty simple one to learn. I have a YouTube tutorial. If you haven't seen it, learn that. The idea is that combined with the jumbled suits and a loose false shuffle, you could briefly fan the deck, and really that order is not too discernible. I wouldn't let people dwell on it, but just introducing the effect, you do something like that. And now we're ready to begin by asking our spectators to choose a dice here. Let me elevate up for you guys for this explanation. So we're going to ask the spectator to take a dice and roll it. If you have a dice cup, this helps. Here's the idea. With the spectator involved, you have tons of misdirection that's going to cover your pinky count and your passes. So we're going to integrate the spectator's actions here as we get the secret business done. The first one's a freebie, so they roll it out. Whatever they roll, they deal. Now, this is an interesting, let's get this out of the way first. If they roll a 6, you don't have to do any work at all. This is a freebie. Anytime a spectator rolls a 6, you can deal directly that number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it will be a 6. So know that. 6s are a freebie. This will make sense moving forward. Let's roll another number, see what we get here. 3. So in this case, 3 is the number. We're going to deal to that number, 1, 2, 3. That'll be a 3, of course, because of our stack. And now we have to do a little mental calculation, and the calculation is this. We're going to figure out how many cards we need to pass to the bottom to get to the next stack. In this case, it needs to be 3 cards because the run was ace through 6. We dealt 3. 3 minus 6 is 3. So under the cover of asking the spectator to take a dice and roll it to a table, what I'm going to do is secretly pinky count the number, 1, 2, 3 cards. I'm going to get my break ready for the shift. And as the spectator rolls the dice, I'm going to execute that pass onto the table. This is going to bring our next stack to the top of the deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I rolled another 6. This is fortuitous for me in performance, but for explanation purposes, let's say we rolled something like a 2. So I'll deal 1. It's the second card, which again, because of the stack, will be a 2. And now I do the math. 6 minus 2 is 4. Yep, there's 4 cards I got to get rid of here to get to the next stack. So again, and in this case, we're asking both of the dice. Ask your spectator to put both of the dice in. Do your count, 1, 2, 3, 4, and execute the pass under the cover of your spectator doing these actions. Now there we are with 6 and 5. That's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll... Oh, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I fooled myself. That'll be the jack. That'll be the deuce to match the 2. The jack matches the 11, and the 3 matches the 3. And that is the initial Coincidice effect. Now, if you want to follow it up with the 4 king production, and I do, you're going to have to do more math to get to the king stack. Now, this one's easy. In the case of the jack, I only have 1 card above the king stack. That's the queen. Remember, they run ace through queen. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, queen. So I got to pass, in this case, 1 card to the bottom. For a situation like this, I'd probably just get a break under the top card as I gathered these up and then shift them to the bottom. But however you do it, you got to get to that king and then 5 cards and then a king and then 5 more cards. This is going to produce our run of kings, and then there's 2 kings. So this is a little bit different, just a little bit different technique on how to produce the 4 kings, but the trick starts the same. You have your spectator take a dice, roll it onto the table. In this case, we're going to deal in piles. So this is a 4. I'm just going to deal 4, one on top of the other. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will place a king at the face of that packet. And then as you instruct your spectator to drop a dice in and roll it on the table, we're going to do our math. So 6 minus 4 is 2. I pinky count 2 cards from the top, get the break and shift under the cover of the spectator rolling the dice. That's a 3. We deal 1, 2, 3. Now, there is an exception to the rule here. We have to count 1 extra card on the king production. So in this case, 6 minus 3 is 3. But in this spot, we got to count 1 extra one. That means we got to count 4. And what that's going to do is I pinky count not just 1, 2, 3, but the extra card. When I shift to the bottom, that's going to place the remaining king at the face of the pack, one of the kings at the top of the pack. So now, regardless of what is rolled, in this case, a 3 and a 2, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to place a king at the face of each packet. With a live audience, I force this king. So I'll use something like a Hindu shuffle force, or maybe you could use a crisscross cut force, or any number of forces to give your spectator the illusion that they found a king. And this makes the effect a little stronger because they find the card that matches the kings at the other random positions. Now, if I don't have a spectator, if I'm performing this virtually, I'll produce the card off the bottom with a flourish. This is Daryl's hot shot cut, which is another thing that I've taught on. Actually taught this on a YouTube short video. But there's a lot of bottom productions, or you could just flourishly cut one and turn it over like that. The options are many. I hope you find one that serves you well. All right, here's a bonus stack, an extra idea for when you don't have dice, or maybe you just want to do it this way with spectators' fingers. Yeah, use fingers instead of dice. Here's the stack. Ace, 2, 3, that's on the top, followed by Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the second stack. The third stack is a run of Ace through 10. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can easily maintain this stack by just shuffling off the face, or you can do like an overhand jog shuffle, taking cards from the rear and just leaving that block of 18 cards stacked atop of the deck. When you're ready to perform the effect, ask your spectator to put a number of fingers on the table, 1, 2, or 3. However many they put, you say 2, okay, we'll deal 2 cards. It's just like the dice trick. So if they put 2, we know we have 1 card to count. Count that 1 card as you ask the spectator to place one of their a number of fingers to the table, 3, 4, or 5. Whatever they put down, say they put down 4, you're going to deal 1, 2, 3 to the 4th card, put it under their fingers. If they name 4, that's going to leave the 5 left, so we're going to count to that one and then shift that card to the bottom as we ask the last spectator to put a number of fingers down, 1 through 10. Let's say they pick 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course, it's going to be an 8 because they're all in order. Don't show that. Save it up for the denouement. Ask the spectators to lift their fingers. And this is an approach that you can use to produce freely chosen numbers to match the freely chosen deals of the cards. Is that what I meant to say? I think you get the idea. There's your bonus idea for Coincidice with no dice. All right, so that'll bring us to the end of this Coincidice discussion. I hope you found some interesting information to add to your Cardman's Toolkit. The pinky count, it's an invaluable technique that you can use for many things beyond this. Certainly the pass is an effective tool. And when you combine the two with interlocking stacks, there's a lot of possibilities. I hope you can discover some on your own. And with that note, I'm going to thank you once again for your time, your attention, your energy. It is always appreciated, and that's going to be a wrap on this clip. Ciao for now.